Hey, it's hey guys, it's Saturday, April 4th. Been out here most of the afternoon messing around. We got the permanent pieces in the rear end. Everything's cool. We bolted down the outside first and then made sure the holes were free and clear. The bolts going in, so there was no binding going on with that middle bearing. We had the seat already mocked up. We put marks all over the place, you know, to make sure we could get it back in the same spot after we set up the seat struts, and then had, you know, tacked them together, and then had Richie come over and weld everything together, you know. We'll go to the hardware store, get some nuts and bolts to hold all those on. We're going to use the elevator bolt. We've done this with our old carts. You drill a hole through the seat the size of the threaded bit, and then you file it square, and that'll, you know, you'll be able to sink that thing. Will be right in nice and flush. You'll never feel it. These are for the hip area. We'll be doing the same thing here. We got to cut them off where that red line is. Got to cut them down, and then we'll go ahead and crimp them and drill them. And those will be our side deals to hold the seat in. We got the caliper on. We got our turnbuckle in to keep it from flexing and bowing and bending. We set up the mocked up and cut and fit the brackets for the front brakes. We got another piece of material that we're going to lay down in here, and it'll get welded to the spindle arm. This will be a weld fillet here. It'll extend a little further because we're going to have the tie rods out here, and that'll allow us to come out up the shaft, make the pitman arm a little longer here, and allow us to get those tie rods down low so they're not beating up the back of our legs. Of course, all the brakes, all the springs have been removed. All return springs have been removed. So it's a self-adjusting system. No shims, no spacers to adjust, no air gap to adjust or nothing. It'll do it all by itself, just like your car does. To do that, you have to vent your master cylinder. So we'll have brass barb fittings in both the masters. We'll have a Y fitting with fuel line coming off up to a Brembo remote reservoir that will feed fluid, because, you know, just like your car, as your pads wear, the fluid goes down. In a standard karting system, as your pads wear, you just start getting more and more pedal travel because the air gap between the pads and the rotor get bigger and bigger unless you adjust it. See, I won't have to adjust it. That's something that Paul Martin, the guy that designed the brakes and owns the company, he worked with us on this a long time ago. I'm super anal about my brakes. I you know, going, you know, 130, 140 or whatever, or faster, you don't want to have that pedal travel before it starts working, especially once they get hot. Things will start to you know, get a little gap in them, and it's a very unsettling feeling when you know you need to get slowed right down and you're reaching for that brake pedal. And so I like my brakes to be right there, and with the self-adjusting system, it always is. So that's it for now. We got some things lined up after we get all the seat struts bolted on, holes in, seat on. We'll go ahead and get this carved out, get the nut bar in. We're actually going to have to use a curved nut bar. We notched this one up just in case. This is a standard emic off the other cart there. We cut off to get it out further, because when we move the seat forward with the motor in the back to offset the weight, we should have moved that crossbar forward, folks. But we didn't. So we don't want a nut bar right here, because it'll be right up in your rectum, right? So it'll be a rectum wrecker instead of a nut bar. We don't want that. So we'll get all this going shortly as well. And then, you know, steering shafts here, we'll get that going. We'll make some pitman arms once we get the rest of this stuff welded up and what have you. So it'll start coming together. We'll get a turning, functioning machine here in no time. And then, you know, we're going to start working on getting the Nerf bars made up. Where they're going to slide in. They may go here. It may end up coming out even further. We're not sure yet. But got a couple ideas we're working on. We got to get the air compressor fixed first, though. Wanted to show you this before we shut the video down. You see one of the screws are gone. I think I think it was gone from the get-go. I rebuilt this pump Yeah, just last year, honed the cylinders out, new gaskets and everything, tuned it all back up and fixed things up. The fittings were leaking and what have you. And it's old. And I think I've had that thing longer than I've been married, actually. It's the first thing I bought when I graduated from auto body school a full lifetime ago. So, when I redid it last year, I think the threads in here were weak. And I don't think I put the second screw back in. I think the hole was already stripped out, which is really stupid. I probably should have done what I'm going to do tomorrow back then, which is drill these out, tap them for a bigger piece of hardware, and put 2 bigger screws in there and get it running again. We noticed it sort of, when it was running, it was all of a sudden, it's quite a bit quieter than it normally is. And Rich looks at me, he goes, "Man, that can't be good." I'm like, no, I don't. And I told him, I said, "I think we lost a lung on a compressor." And yeah, she was down a cylinder. It took quite a while for it to pump up the same amount of air. So we'll get old Bessie fixed up. We're working on the car here. Just doing what we got to do, burn some time. And see where the world takes us at this point, right? God bless y'all. Godspeed. I'm praying for you. We love y'all. Hang in there. Keep your chins up. It can always be worse, folks. It can always be worse. Got to look at the bright side. Glass half full. Talk to y'all later.